Hi there, welcome back to my channel Scrap and Coffee. This will be the final construction video for the box full of goodies, and in this video we will be making the folio. So the one with the acetate window here, which is optional. Don't forget that you don't have to do that. And what we can fold all these things out with photo opportunities, small pockets where we can place photos. And then I just use this large area to put some loose stuff in, but of course you can also do that a little bit different, right? You can also do a little layout here or stick some photos down, combine that with pattern paper, however you want to do that. But this folio is what we will be creating in today's video. Okay, let's create the folder. Normally I have it completely figured out. This time I switched up my original idea a little bit. So I have to do some measuring while we're going, but that will be fine. We're going to start with our first piece L. It's going to be 5.5 by 7.5. We don't need to do any scoring. We can just place it to the side for now. And then we have two pieces of M that are 5.5 by 4 3/8. And with the 4 3/8 inch side on top, I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. For both pieces, same thing. Then we are going to turn these pieces over to the bumpy side for applying our tape. I hope I have enough on this roll for these two pieces. So just along the cut edge and in between with your first 1/2 inch score line. And then from that first 1/2 inch score line I'm going to angle. So just put your scissors just above that score line. It's for hiding construction. So make sure that you have that 1/8 inch space in between your score line stays straight. We don't cut into that. And then I'm going to fold lightly on that first 1/2 inch score line on both pieces, getting piece L back in. And we are going to attach the flap behind the large piece, lining up the 5.5 inch side up to your first score line. So you want to see both score lines. So you're going to bump it up against that 1/2 inch score line. Don't go over it. You still want to see it once you've attached it. And it doesn't really matter on what side you do it. There is no up or down at this moment. Just try to get it on there, lined up top and bottom, and make sure you see your score line. And then the other piece will go on the other side. Let's see if I can do it on this side as well. I'm going to regret this, probably. Oh, we'll see what we get. So make sure you have a good stick there. So you want to see both score lines once you've attached it. And now we can really fold and burnish both the score lines to the bumpy side. Now we're gonna make sure that our 1/8 inch gusset is standing up straight, and we just want to check that our flaps don't overlap. I have a small gap there, and that's perfect. That's just fine. So now opening up these flaps, I'm going to cut two pieces that are 3 inches by It should be able to be 4 3/4, but maybe you want to check for yourself. I'm going to go a slight hair under 4 3/4, like not a complete 1/16 of an inch, but a slight hair. Okay, so I have those pieces cut out. Getting my scoreboard in, and now because I've got it that slight hair under 4 3/4, I'm going to score 1/2 inch with that measurement on top, and then turn it 180 degrees and score again 1/2 inch. So that little bit that I've cut off is going to be in that middle part. That's where I need it to be slightly shorter. And then with the 3-inch side on top, score 1/2 inch. I'm going to make pockets out of these. Okay, and then I want to have the angle that we've used in several of these projects that go in the box. I want to have that come back, so and I believed I did. Let me check quickly. Yeah, 1 1/4. Okay, so on one piece I'm gonna go to the score line on the right hand side with the other score line along the bottom, and I'm going to measure from the top cut edge on that score line 1 1/4 inches down. And then I'm going to connect that pencil mark with the top of the score line on the left hand side and draw my line all the way to the cut edge. So I measure on the score line, on the score line from the top cut edge 1 1/4 inches down, and then connect all the way to the cut edge. I'm going to do the same thing on this piece, only on the other side. So 1 1/4. And connect it. So we've mirrored the pieces, and then I'm going to cut off the angle on the pencil line. And then we can place tape on the 3 sides with a score line, and that's what I thought. Need a new one. Okay, once again, because I've already angled it, I need to cut away my tape overhang. And I also went a little bit too far here, I see. And then we can miter the corners where our score lines intersect. And fold on all your score lines. Okay, and then I like to cut off that little flap there as well. Maybe you don't even have to do that, because you can cover it up with pattern paper once you start decorating, but I just do that. And then we can get this base piece in. So now we are going to create where it's going to be having an orientation, because we are going to place the pocket on the inside. So open up your flaps on the inside, lining it up with the cut edge on the outside. And because I've cut it that hair smaller, my pocket stops just before the score line. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going over that score line. And that's why I've cut it that hair under 4 3/4 and also scored it at the 1/2 inch from both sides. Where's my bone folder here? I'm going to put something on there to keep it flat on my work surface. I hope there is not too much shadow going on. It's a little bit of a dark day outside, but I'm lining up the corner here on the outside and then bring it along the bottom to stick that down. And then I'm going to do a little bit of scotch tape there in that pocket, although it's a small pocket, a little easier to maneuver your photo mats in there or the things that you want to put in there, but still. And then I can stick down the sides. And then do the same thing here on the other side. So also I'm actually, while I'm filming this, I'm not feeling too well, so maybe I don't have as much energy in talking. Maybe I am maybe you notice something in my voice. That's possible. It's because I'm not feeling too well, but I just want to get this done. Because I have today and I have tomorrow, and then summer break is going to start for my son, and filming is going to be impossible. So, and it's not like I need to lay in my bed or something, but I'm just a little uncomfortable. Let's keep it to that. But there we go, the pocket is on here. So we have this now, but we're not there yet, right? We are going to need 2 pieces. I haven't cut them yet, I don't know why. I could have done that, but 2 pieces, 5.5 by 6 1/8 of an inch. Okay, I changed it. I'm working with 12 by 12 inch cardstock, and if you need to cut something to 6 1/8 of an inch, that's really inconvenient, right? Because you cannot get 2 pieces out of your 12 inch. So what I did is I've cut my first piece to 6 1/8 of an inch, and on the second piece I cut to, I think I cut it to 5 3/4, but it should be 5 7/8. Maybe I cut it a little. Let me see what I get. If I do 5 1/4. And, yeah, that's gonna work. So to 5 7/8, and that's actually for when you work with your 12 by 12. That's then you get the 2 pieces out of that 12 inch, right? So what do? I score it. In this case, I score on this side 5 1/4 and 5 3/8. That piece that is 5 7/8. And this piece is 5.5 by 6 1/8, and I'm going to score at 5.5 and 5 5/8. And so that's the same as scoring it at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch, both pieces. That's way easier to say, right? So both pieces you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. Okay, I'm kind of thinking, but also for these pieces, for both of them, I'm going to apply my tape on the bumpy side of the piece. So turn it over to where you see that bumpy side of your score line, and between the cut edge and your first 1/2 inch score line, you're going to apply your tape. Oh, maybe I should have waited with the long piece, but that's fine. Do I fit my 3/8 inch tape here? Yeah, so my attachment strip is a little shorter because I miscut my piece, but that's fine. I can make it work. Give that a burnish. You don't really have to taper the 1/2 inch for these pieces. But what are we going to do is we're going to get our base piece in and turn it over. And maybe you want to lay it completely open, but I'm going to show you close because that talks a little bit easier. Finding the center of this piece, which is at 3 3/4 from both sides, but because we have attached those flaps, it's going to be slightly bigger than that. So just center that out. So it's just a hair over 3 3/4. And then these flaps are 5.5 inches, and the half of 5.5 is 2 3/4, right? Yes. So while I have my ruler centered out here, I'm going to measure 2 3/4 from the center to both sides. So 2 3/4. So my pencil marks are 5.5 inches apart from each other. And actually, maybe I'm thinking right now it's easier to do that on the inside, because that's what I'm going to be looking at when I'm attaching it. So again, find the center, 2 3/4 from the center is what I'm marking, and that should be 5.5 inches apart from each other. So I'm going to do the same thing here at the bottom, because we're going to do it on both sides. So making sure that I'm nice and centered, and then 2 3/4, 2 3/4. Then I'm going to get the shorter of the two pieces and slightly fold on that 1/2 inch score line. This one is going to go on the bottom, the shortest of the two. So I have my pockets here, and I'm going to slide it behind the piece, lining it up with the pencil marks right there, and then up to the first 1/2 inch score line. Okay, so once you've lined that up, give that a burnish, and then we can fold and burnish both score lines. I just find it easier to do that after attaching, because my piece will cooperate with me a little bit better. So also do this second one. And fold that up. Okay, so this flap will eventually go over the two side flaps. We are going to do the same thing with this one, but I want to do something with this, just something fun. I'm going to try it. We'll see how it works out. First of all, I'm going to angle the two bottom corners. And then I'm going to get a pencil and a ruler, and I just need to see, that should be about 3/8 inch, but let's go for a 5/8 inch frame, because I'm drawing a frame. I try to incorporate a little touch of acetate in every piece, so that's what I'm doing here. So 5/8 of an inch from the three sides where we don't have score lines, we're going to be 5/8 of an inch. And then here I need to add extra. So from the second score line, from the 5/8 inch score line, I need to measure 5/8 of an inch, which is 1 1/4 from your cut edge on top. So you can also use that line for lining up. And that gives us a nice frame. I like how that looks. So I'm going to cut that out. There we go. Okay, then I need to measure this frame, or at least I need to measure what I need on acetate. That should be 5 by 5. Should be the same on both sides. Yep, 5 by 5 inches. Okay, I think I can manage with my 1/4 inch tape. So I'm gonna put 1/4 inch tape around the perimeter of this piece of acetate. Okay, and then actually I want to attach the acetate on the dented side of the piece. So what I can do to be sure is just cut off a little bit of the corner here. And I have enough space that I don't really need it, but just to be sure for myself. Okay, make sure that we have a little bit of black showing on the inside of the frame, so we can cover it up with pattern paper. we don't see any tape after we've attached the pattern paper. So making sure that those angles are on the bottom. Moving this above my piece there. And then carefully burnish the tape, right? And then what I will do, I still need to decide on the pattern paper that I'm going to use, but I'm going to use 1/2 inch strips to cover up here the acetate on the front, and then on the back I will cut a piece of pattern paper that I will stick on here, and then I can also do a photo opportunity on that where we see some nice pattern paper behind the frame. So I still need to decide on what I want to use. But we can attach this flap now. So this is a little, can be a bit tricky because we did our pencil lines. We want this to line up, but in a perfect world it will also line up with this piece, right? So we want those cut edges to line up as well. And I'm just checking for myself that if I use my pencil marks, if that will work. Because sometimes you're just a little off with measuring, but it seems to be fine. So I'm just going for it, we'll see. So I remove the tape backing and I use the pencil marks that we made earlier to line up the piece where it needs to go. Make sure you still see your score line. And then we can fold and burnish both of them. Okay, so close that, close this one, and this one will go on top. If we want to, we can also angle the corners here. I can decide on that later. And then what I also need to do is get a quick measurement here. Okay, and then finally we have 2 more pieces that are 5.5 inches by 1 3/8 of an inch. And with the 1 3/8 inch side on top, you are going to score at 1/2 inch, both pieces. And on the dented side we are going to apply our tape between the cut edge and that score line. And then I'm going to taper that 1/2 inch part, so just angle it a little bit. And we can fold on the score line. Okay, now getting our piece in, I'm going to attach this here on the side, so as a little flap. So I want to make sure that I don't have any overhang on top and bottom for both pieces, and that you have some space between the end of the flap and the large flap with the acetate. And that looks okay on both sides, so I'm just going to make it easy for myself, opening it up, because I want to line it up here when the 1/8 inch gusset is standing up. I want to line it up there with that fold. So I'm going to fold on that score line just to make it flat on my work surface. And again, I can use my bone folder to help me there to keep it in place. And then line up the folded edge of your small flap here with that folded edge. And line up top and bottom. Okay. And then we can reinforce the gusset again. So I'm going to do the same thing here on this side. So I'm folding on top score line there, so the gusset falls underneath the piece. Remove the tape backing a little bit. And line it up as best as you can. So again, giving it a burnish. And we will stick the sides down here with some wet glue on the top and bottom edge. But before I do that, I'm going to place some pattern paper. And I want to see if I can make it work with this pattern. I really love the pattern, but the way the little images are grouped, it can be a little tricky to get something decent out of it. But I'm thinking I'm going to cut it to size from the top and then see how we can cut it up. So this is 5.5, so I'm going to cut a strip that's 5 3/8 of an inch. And then this is 3 3/4, so I want 3 5/8. So if I cut that here, I will come there and about there. I think it's fine. I'm just going to cut 2 strips off of this. I guess it's just what it is, right? And then this will fall over a little bit. Yeah, that will be fine. So I'm going to cut 2 strips, 3 5/8 from this side. Okay, so if I stick that down, yeah, that's nice. Sure, let's go for it. My ink and my glue. Okay, and then we can glue that in place. Okay, so now that the pattern paper is in place, I can glue these flaps down here. So in order to do so, I'm just going to put some glue along the short side. Fold it over. Give the edge and burn this and just hold it in place for a little bit until you're sure that the glue has dried somewhat and it's going to stay in place. And do the same thing here on this side. Okay, and then on these strips I'm going to determine what I want next to it. This green would work really well, and I'm kind of thinking I would like to use the green, but the pink would also work really well, I guess. Now I don't know. Why did I try it? I'm just grabbing for some scrap pieces of the solids that I have. Okay, this is with the pink, which looks nice. I think I'm gonna go for the green. Okay, I've been looking at my papers a little bit. It's quite hard to decide on this piece, but I've got some strips of the green from some scrap pieces. They are 5 3/8 by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to ink these up. So the first one I'm just going to ink and stick down as it is. Okay, so Try to even out the black on all four sides, right? Okay, then this one. Get my pencil in. And I try to mark where I need to cut the angle. Because this is a little bit more tricky with the angle there at the bottom of the flap. But I'll do my best. Try to be really careful with the wet glue on the acetate. Okay, so this was easy up to now. Line up my strip. Oh, this is a little bit too long. I need to cut off a small hair. Okay, let's do that. Okay, first I'm going to cut the angle here. Then I mark where the angle is in the piece underneath, and I need to cut that here as well. So this is quite tricky to get it completely straight and lined up. And then the question is, yeah, I think I do. I'm going to angle it here as well. So maybe I should have done that first. That would have been easier, but now let's. So let me show you on the other one. So you get a little bit of a weird piece here, like this. Okay, let me ink that. Okay, so for this one, I think it's also too long. So I have to cut it to size. Okay, and mark my angle here on top. I'm just taking some extra strips because I want to get it as best as I can. And then I'm going to mark here where I need to make my miter angle basically. So if you don't have the angle there, then this is all the cuts that you make. Up to the corner. And then I'm going to mark here what I need to cut off there. It's easier in this order. So just line all your edges up as best as you can, and we try to avoid well, mine is not perfect here, but okay. Try to avoid that you see any tape on the inside of your frame, right, of attaching the acetate. And then this one. Okay. It's not bad. You just have to take your time. I corrected here a little bit and I shouldn't have done that. I think my first cut was actually just fine. But hey, so once you've cut it off, it's off, right? So we have to deal with it. Okay, so then I have this piece here that I've cut to 5 3/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm going to stick this one down, and I need to make sure that I do that in the right orientation, right here. So I need to angle that piece. So once the flap is closed, we want to see the flowers in the right way. Marking it. And cut that off. And I think I've said it before, I can do this with my angle punch as well, but I don't like, often I'm off with the angle, so I just choose to do it this way. And I'm going to ink this as well, and I always ink away from my project because there are always some fibers flying around of ink from my blending tool basically, and yeah, I don't want that on my project, so that's why. Okay, try to even out the border, make sure you don't go over your score line there. And I'm going to glue this down. So what I can do is a little bit, for some extra security, is put some glue here around the frame, not too close to the acetate, thin line, and then the outside edge here. We can stick this down. So when I have a nice solid here, so that it doesn't matter in what way you look at it. And that's also helpful if you have that on your paper. So if the back side is not, doesn't have any specific orientation, that's great. So we make sure that we have the edges nicely stuck down, and then later on we can put a nice photo spot there. Okay, so we have that. And then I cut these pieces of pink for here, but I kind of feel that the pink and the green, it doesn't do it for me, so I might cut off some extra green from here. Then it's going to be very green, but yeah. I also want to have some color when we flip this up and this down. I also want to have some color here, right? And then this is what I will get. I need to cut another piece, right? And I have a scrap piece here, but I'm kind of thinking maybe I want to wait and see if I have another scrap piece later on that I can use, because the rest is all too small. So for now I think I'm just going to leave it here and see. Probably later on I will have another scrap piece that I can work with. Because I think I like that better than having the pink there. Yeah, that's just too, yeah, not working for me personally. Okay, so the rest of the decorating I will finish up later. I wanted to show you this, and then here on top we can just build a photo opportunity, right? And we can do stuff here. We have pocket here, and that's of course what I need to show you, is once we have it all closed, we can just put something in the pocket to keep everything in place. And it just has to be something small. It doesn't have to be a large photo, but it can be a large photo. And then underneath there we can also just have something in the pocket underneath there. So I thought that was fun. So this is what I call the folder, and yeah, I hope you like it. I'm sorry, like I said, I'm not feeling very well, so it might be a little bit of a less interesting video, or might be a little bit more over the place. I'm sorry for that, but at least it's on camera now. And yeah, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.